When you think of the greatest Call of Duty of all time, what game do you think of? For some, it's Black Ops 2, others might say Modern Warfare 2019, but for me, one game always stood out from the rest. Call of Duty World at War. Most people remember it either for its brutal depiction of World War II or for the campaign, which is what I'll be looking at today. Does the campaign hold up against the Call of Duties of today, or has nostalgia influenced the game's legendary status? But first, we need to understand where World at War fits into Call of Duty history, and for that we have to look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. Released in 2007, COD 4 completely redefined the franchise. Infinity Ward finally moved the series into the modern day and delivered one of the most groundbreaking campaigns in gaming history. Suddenly, Call of Duty wasn't just known as another World War II shooter, it had become one of the biggest franchises in gaming. At the time, Treyarch didn't have the same reputation as Infinity Ward. Infinity Ward was responsible for the games that defined the franchise, while Treyarch was often viewed as the backup studio. Call of Duty 3, their previous title, was a decent World War II shooter, but it didn't leave the same impact as any of the Infinity Ward games. When World at War was announced, the reaction was mixed. On one hand, many fans were excited to return to World War II, and on the other hand, Call of Duty 4 had just redefined what the series could be, and some players questioned whether returning to World War II was a step backward. So going into World at War, Treyarch had a lot to prove. They were following one of the most influential shooters ever made, while returning to a setting many players thought the series had moved past. The question is, did they succeed? Before we start, I wanted to explain how my rating system works. Scores are out of 10, but a 5 is average, not bad. And the 5 categories that I will be rating are visuals, audio and atmosphere, mechanics, mission design and variety, story and characters, and player experience. Player experience is how everything fits together, but it's not the overall score. I'll explain more in my second part, and since today is just part 1, I'll only be covering the first category. If Treyarch promised one thing with World at War, it was a dark, brutal depiction of World War II, and they delivered. The war in the game feels chaotic and unforgiving. Dismembered bodies are scattered across the battlefield, and the heavy sounds of the weapons gives each gunfight weight. The music hums somberly in the background, then in the heat of battle, it'll grow larger, and it kind of guides you emotionally as you play the campaign. But we have to look deeper than that. One of my favorite things to do in any Call of Duty game is to backtrack as far as I can and just look around at the environment. I highly recommend everyone try this at least once. For example, let's look at the mission Little Resistance. It's only the second mission, but still one of my favorites. We get to witness great scenes like the boat landing, and you also get to fight soldiers in ghillie suits for the first time.
The tree! What the hell is he doing? Shot, Miller! Take him down! Stay together!
You can even find injured soldiers later in the mission who will either blow up with a grenade or shoot at you. But once the shooting stops and the music dies down, you really get to experience the world. Constant barrages from ships and artillery bang in the distance. Ash from small fires on the beach fill the air as they crackle and burn. Small details like this is what makes World at War feel alive. The fighting never stops, even when you're standing still. The battlefield extends far beyond the section of map that you're playing on. Each mission has a unique composition with different sounds and sights. The contrast of the jungles of the Pacific Theater and the cities of the European Theater also adds so much more scenic variety to the game, making it so you never get bored of your environment. Despite the graphics being 20 years old, the visuals, audio, and atmosphere are the main reasons I return to World at War so frequently, and that's why I'm giving this section a score of 8 out of 10.